Chapter 21. Maya was happy and excited the day she took me for a car ride. We're going to work together. Isn't that great, Ellie? You won't have to sleep in the kennel anymore. I bought a bed for you. You can sleep in my room. I sifted through her statement. Ellie, kennel, bed, room. There was nothing there that made any sense to me whatsoever, but I was glad to stick my nose out the window and breathe the scent of something besides Cammy and Gypsy. Maya parked in the driveway of a small house that I knew. As soon as we crossed the threshold where she lived, painted everywhere was her smell, plus the distinctly disappointing odor of cats. I inspected the dwelling, which was tinier than Jacob's apartment, and immediately encountered an orange feline sitting on a chair at the table. She regarded me with cold eyes, and when I approached her wagging, she opened her mouth and gave an almost silent hiss. Stella, be nice. That's Stella. Stella, this is Ellie. She lives here now. Stella yawned, unimpressed. A flash of gray and white motion out of the corner of my eye drew my attention. Tinker? That's Tinkerbell. She's shy. Another cat? I followed her into the bedroom where a third feline, a heavy black and brown male, sauntered out and sniffed at me with fish breath. And that's Emmett. Stella, Tinkerbell, and Emmett. Why on earth would a woman want 3 cats? Tinkerbell was hiding under the bed, thinking I couldn't smell her there. Emmett followed me into the kitchen and looked curiously into the bowl Maya filled with food, then lifted his head and walked away as if he didn't care that I was eating, and he was not. Stella watched me unwinkingly from her perch on the chair. After eating, Maya let me out into her tiny yard, which was unmarked by dogs. I did my business with dignity, aware that at least some of the cat population were observing me. Good girl, Ellie, Maya enthused. Apparently she was one of the excited to see you peeing in the yard persuasion. Maya made her own dinner, which smelled pretty good, and drew the attention of Stella, who jumped right up on the table and waltzed around like a bad cat. Maya didn't say anything to her, apparently feeling that cats were worthless, untrainable animals. We went for a walk on the leash after dinner. There were a lot of people out in the yards, many of them children, which made me feel restless. I had not done any work in several weeks, and there was a tension in my muscles. I wanted to run, to find, to save people. As if picking up on my mood, Maya began to trot. Want to run a little, girl? She asked. I increased my pace, sticking right to her side as Jacob had taught me. Before long, she was huffing, and I could smell her sweat break out from her pores. The heat was coming off of the pavement into my paws, and as we passed houses, dogs barked enviously. And then Maya abruptly stopped. Phew, she panted. Okay, we're going to need to spend more time on the treadmill, that's for sure. I didn't really get what was happening until that night. I was lying on the rug while Maya took a bath and dressed in different clothing, and then she called me into her bedroom. Okay, lie down here, Ellie. Good girl, she said, patting a dog bed. I obediently curled up in it, but I was mystified. Apparently I would be staying here for a while. Was this where I lived now? What about Jacob? What about my work? The next morning, Maya and I did do work, though it was a little strange. Wally was there and greeted me like an old friend, along with a woman who sometimes came along to play find with us. Her name was Belinda, and Wally's smell was always all over her, so I suspected that when we weren't there, Belinda and Wally played find with each other. Wally stayed with Maya while Belinda went off into the woods. He talked with Maya, teaching her the hand signals and commands we used during work. Then Maya said, Ellie, find, and I raced off while Wally and Maya followed. Belinda was sitting inside a car, which fooled me not at all, and I returned to Maya. See how she looks, Wally said. She found Belinda. You can tell by her expression. I waited impatiently for Maya to tell me to show, but she and Wally were too busy talking. I'm not sure. She doesn't look much different than the other time she came back, Maya said. Look at her eyes, the way her mouth is tightened. Her tongue's not out, see? She's on alert. She has something to show us. At the word show, I trembled, caught in half lunge. It hadn't really been a command. So now I tell her to show? Maya asked. Quit teasing me. Were we working or not? Show, Maya finally called. Belinda came out of the car laughing when we found her. Such a good dog, Ellie, she told me. Now you play with Ellie. It's important. It's her reward for such hard work. When Maya played with me, it was different from Jacob's play. Maya seemed to actually enjoy it. It wasn't just something she did at the end of show. She had the rubber bone from the kennel, and I dug in my feet and clenched it in my jaws while she tried to take it away. Maya had a life different from anyone else I had ever encountered. Not only was she burdened with too many cats, but most nights she went to a larger home with lots of people and a wonderful-smelling woman named Mama. Mama was like Grandma, always cooking, and there were little children running around playing with each other every time we went for a visit. The children climbed on me until Maya asked them to stop, and the boys played ball with me, which I loved, and the girls put hats on me, which I tolerated. Maya had a neighbor named Al who liked to come over and ask Maya about help. Do you need help carrying those boxes, Maya? He would ask. No, she would say. Do you need help fixing your door? No, Maya would say. Maya always seemed anxious, her skin warming and her palms sweating when Al came over, but she wasn't frightened of him. When Al walked away, Maya's feelings changed to sadness. "Did you get a new dog?" Al asked. He reached down and scratched me behind the ears in a way that made me instantly love him. He smelled of papers and ink and coffee. "Yes, she's the department search and rescue dog." I knew they were talking about me and wagged my tail in friendship. "Do you need help training your new dog?" Al asked. No, Maya said. "Ellie has already been trained. We need to learn to work together as a team." I wagged over the words Ellie and work. Al stood up from his scratching. "Maya, you..." He started to say. He felt nervous. "I probably should go," Maya said. "Your hair is very pretty today," Al blurted. The two of them stared at each other, both so anxious it felt as if we were under danger of an imminent attack. I glanced around but could see nothing more threatening than Emmett watching us through the window. "Thank you, Al," Maya said. "Would you like..." "I'll let you go," Al said. "Oh," Maya said. "Unless..." Al stammered. "Unless," Maya repeated. Do you need help with anything?" No, Maya said. Maya and I worked almost every day. Maya would tell me to find, and we would plunge off into the woods, sometimes chasing Wally or Belinda, and sometimes chasing one of the older boys from Mama's house. Maya was much slower than Jacob, panting and sweating from the moment we started. Often real pain would come off of her, and I learned that not to be impatient when I returned to her, and all she could do was put her hands on her knees for a few minutes. Sometimes a burst of helplessness and frustration would overtake her, and she would cry, but she always cleaned up her face before we came to Wally. One afternoon, she and Wally sat at a picnic table and drank cool beverages while I lay in the shade of a tree. Maya's worry was clear to me, but I had learned to live with it and not to let it interfere with the work. "We're not good enough to get certified, are we?" Maya said. "Ellie's about the best dog I've ever seen," Wally replied. I sensed some alarm and caution in his voice and looked at him curiously. "No, I know it's me. I've always been heavy." "What? No, I mean," Wally said, his alarm increasing. I sat up wondering what the danger was. "It's okay, I've actually lost some weight, like 4 pounds. "Really? That's great. But you weren't fat or anything," Wally stammered. I smelled the sweat pop on his forehead. I don't know, maybe go to the track. That would help or something?" "I do go to the track!" "Right, yes," Wally radiated pure fear, and I yawned anxiously. "Well, okay, I should go now." I don't know, I didn't realize there would be so much running. It's a lot harder than I thought it would be. Maybe I should resign, let someone take over who was in better shape. "Hey, why don't you talk to Belinda about this?" Wally said desperately. Maya sighed, and Wally, full of relief, got up and left. I lay back down. Whatever horrible danger had been lurking was now apparently no longer a threat.